So, talked a little bit about this several times before, but I'm actually quite excited about this. I have a little task or homework assignment for you guys today. Pick whatever is wrong with you, whatever symptoms you're having, right? Whatever you've been diagnosed with, whatever you call it, right? I want you to, if you haven't already, and I'm sure most of you probably already have, just do a little bit of research. You know what I mean? Google it or get a book or talk to the doctor and find out if any of the symptoms specifically related to your condition, your diagnosis, are rooted in, fight or flight stress response. And I'll bet you'll find that every one of you have peripheral symptoms that the official diagnosis, the doctors, the research, right, can't really explain. There are symptoms that go along with the condition or common with your condition, right, but aren't always there or aren't specifically explained by the condition that you have, and therefore just fall under chronic stress, right? Now, why am I saying this? Because I've seen over and over again, so many people are wanting to have, a diagnosis so that they can get the fix. And I just want to encourage you to take a bit of a different approach, a different mindset, and say, you know what? It doesn't necessarily matter what my diagnosis is, because there's nothing empowering about saying, well, I have this condition, right? How about, let's say, you know what, these are the symptoms that I'm experiencing that I don't want to have. And if you can have that kind of objective and I think refreshing perspective, then all of a sudden it opens you up to a whole world of possibilities for healing. And obviously, I'm biased. I'm full disclosure. I'm being 100% transparent. This is what I do. I treat the stress response. There's different names for it. Some people call it fight or flight. Some people call it, anxiety or post-trauma. But we all know, we're all familiar, we all know what that is. I think most of you would be shocked and overwhelmed if you would see the amount of overlapping symptoms that are common among all illnesses that are specifically related to just the way the body biologically responds to stress. So guys, everything that I do, all the information that I put out here is to help you guys to increase awareness that it actually is a stress issue. Many of us have gone years, if not decades, without ever getting any real help. This is why I'm so passionate about this. Because, for instance, mold toxicity, it sounds specific, but the symptoms are all over the place. They take, because it's in the nervous system, it's in the brain, it's in the body, it's in the organs. And so not only are everybody's symptoms totally different, but some people have these symptoms and some don't, right? And so the diagnosis in this case of just saying, well, I have mold toxicity, it gives you a direction to focus your energy towards healing, but it doesn't really empower you, because it's not addressing, it's not specific enough, right? I have this problem and I can fix it with this solution, right? So it's misleading, and that's why I don't really like, you know, the titles for specific conditions. Now I understand in a medical field we have to do it that way. That's the responsible way to do it. I totally get that. And I'm not taking anything away from that. If you have a certain condition and there's a certain treatment for it, then absolutely do that. What I'm talking about is for those of us who have fallen between the fallen in the crack, you know what I mean, of normal um, medical treatments, and you know we have this comprehensive issue or this multi-system issue that, you know what I mean, that we're not getting relief for, that we're not getting treatment for. And I think that's because of this inherent need or perspective or paradigm that we have, specifically in the Western medicine approach of you have to have a diagnosis to have an approved treatment. Like it's things like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, you know, all these mystery conditions all have one super specific, super treatable, and very readily addressable thing in common. That is that they all are manifestations of the stress response. So if we have to call it something, that's what I tried to do here. I call it rewiring the stress response. I like the word stress response because that seems to be, it paints a picture universally in everybody's mind where they know, okay, I know what you're talking about, right? Is that a specific diagnosis? You know, of course not. And I'm not sure if it would be empowering if it was. But what I do want to empower you to do is to know that it's constantly changing anyway, but it can absolutely be changed. It can absolutely be fixed. It can absolutely be monitored. Um, you know, when I work with people one-on-one, I do work with an EEG and I do post some of that information about the EEG, but I don't work with everybody one-on-one with an EEG because it's not necessary. You know what I mean? It takes more time and more money to work with me one-on-one. Um, I just use that information from the EEG just to show you guys that the stress response is measurable. You can actually prove that it's a thing and that it can be changed and improved, right? It's measurable, it's fixable. That's awesome news. That's really, really good news. And I hope you guys are encouraged by all this. Listen, if you have something that you would like for me to share, let me know. I'll put it in an upcoming video. Thanks.